very much, Joe. Demon and I have Gambit's Diamond here with us, as said, after a fantastic game for securing first place for Gambit versus SK. Tell me a little bit about picks and bans, because first time we saw Vel'Koz. How are you guys prepared for that pick?
Vel'Koz support was not really expected to see in a pro scene, but I've seen him before in solo queue from Unrated, I think. He was doing great, but in this game, our bot lane just stopped him, just shut him down, and won a lot of stuff from him.
And sticking with the picks and bans, obviously we saw Svenskeren pulling out Fiddlesticks. You went for Xin Zhao. Elise was open, nobody went with it. How do you find the jungle in 4.4?
I was expecting that Svenskeren will play Fiddlesticks because he played like 20 games in a row with him in solo queue. I predicted it, but then I was thinking about what should I pick if three most imbalanced junglers at this moment are going to be banned. It's Evelynn, Lee Sin, and Kha'Zix. And I thought maybe I should ask someone else. I asked the Co from Cloud9. He said that Xin Zhao is great. I tried him out, and he was really not that bad. But there was a couple of other champions which I wanted to pick, but I decided to play Xin Zhao, and it was wise.
Didn't fancy the Skarner then?
He is not that great after rework.
So what we heard in the pre-show was that both you guys and SK were very focused on the early game, and then they had some champions that could do very well if they got ahead early game. Did you focus to shut all lanes down at that early game with that Xin Zhao?
I think Xin Zhao is the best late game jungler. Like no one can't have a chance as a jungler against him. He has insane amount of crowd control, tankiness, and so on. So you either want to win early game by his perfect ganks, either you wait for late game and then you shine. So after we didn't do anything in the early game, I thought that, okay, let's wait for the late game and then they will lose.
And now we're coming towards the end of the season. Are we starting to see a more focused Gambit coming out here? Edward's hooks were landing every time. Everybody seemed on point. You got every dragon, every baron in the game. Is Gambit as a team stepping up now towards the end of the season?
Yeah, now we're starting to focus more in games because they matter more than before. Like only 6 games left and then playoffs. We have no chance to come back, so we're playing like every game like our last game and try harding as hard as we can. So yeah, you will probably see the better Gambit than we was before.
Okay, and how realistic do you think the chances are that you end the season here before playoffs at the top of the table? What do you think of the teams that are trailing behind you, just behind you in the standings right now?
I think it's going to be really close stats at the end of the season. But I see us as the first place. Maybe Fnatic will get close to us as SK, or even guys from Poland will do it as well. I don't like to do such predictions, but I think Gambit is going to be in the top.
And speaking of the top, I know you're a team that pride yourself on international competition performing. That All-Stars place is out there. Is that a nugget that's really driven you guys forward? Are you starting to boot camp maybe towards the playoffs?
We're already bootcamped. Sometimes we have not enough time, I think. Just 3-4 days on bootcamp. But after this week and the next one, when playoffs will come close, we will go to the bootcamp for 10 days, and then we will show real results.
All right, thank you very much, Diamond. It's always very nice to hear from you. It's also always very nice to hear from you guys at home. And at the top of today's show, we asked you to get on Twitter and tell us which European LCS player would you be the most afraid of to compete against and why. And here are some of the players that would have you quaking in your Moby boots. The first tweet is from @LolYamazuya. Should I ever find myself in mid lane versus Froggen, I'd weep quietly and try to learn as much as I can while he dismantles me. Diamond, you guys have been up against Froggen for forever, it seems.
Huh?
You have been up against Froggen a lot. It seems like 3 years already you've been against them.
Froggen is a great mid laner, one of the best in the Europe at least. And it's really hard to play against him in solo queue, but I think that Vizik is better.
The second one is from @xjohnson20. Expeke, his experience and clutch plays over the years are one of a kind. I definitely stay under my turret and probably still die. Ha.
Yeah, I mean, Peke's definitely been one of those stronger champions, stronger players. if he's on an assassin. If he's not on an assassin, I'd actually fancy myself against him. Oh, I'd obviously lose, but yeah.
Your Ziggs is pretty mean.
It's still not as good as his.
Then the last tweet is from @BunnyDefender. Gotta defend those bunnies. I'd hate to play against Edward, not just because of his Thresh plays, but because of the surprise picks he brings to the bottom lane.
Maybe I would say. For me personally, I'd have gone with this man. This is the man I'd be afraid of. And Aranea said it himself. He's like, please, Gambit, don't kill me. And you never know where Diamond's going to come out of the bushes.
That's true. I would have nightmares if I had to play against that Xin Zhao for sure. Thank you for all of your terrific answers. And remember to keep tweeting throughout the day to @LOL Esports and use that hashtag LCS. It's time for us to take a quick trip back to base and restock some items. But when we return, the action continues as Roccat and Alliance battle it out in our next match.